Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Darrell here. Hope you guys are having an excellent day today. Well, we've got a great video lined up for you guys. We are going to tackle another myth. As you guys know, we love to tackle myths, common misperceptions, test them out, see if they're rooted in truth or fantasy. So the topic we're covering today is uncovered pickups versus covered pickups, hotly debated amongst guitarists. Many people saying uncovered pickups definitely give you more articulation, more bite, more high end, and the covered pickups a little bit more mellow, kind of moderates some of those transients. So let's check them out. Now, longtime viewers of the channel know if we're going to do a comparison like this, we got to do it upright. We have to eliminate as many variables as possible, which means using the same guitar. Now, normally on a regular instrument, this means hours of swapping back and forth and, making sure the action is exactly the same and, taking the strings off and putting them on can actually change the tone a bit. With this guitar, we don't need to do anything like that. So here's why this guitar is such a great fit for an experiment like this. You can swap pickups on this guitar in literal seconds, which means the strings stay the same, the action stays the same, the truss rod doesn't move as you take strings on and off and all that kind of stuff. Woods, electronics, all identical. So it's going to be the perfect test bed for this experiment. So why don't I show you guys exactly how long it takes to swap a pickup. Let's start the timer. 3, 2, 1, go. Back comes off, don't need that. Pickup comes out, new pickup goes in, stop the timer, we're done. So as you guys can see, all I have to do is make sure the pickup heights are identical and we're good to go. All right, now that the stage has been set, let's start the audio comparison. Now we're going to do a little bit of a blind test because, to try to bust a myth or confirm it, we want to use our ears, not our eyes. So I'll show you parts of the guitar as I'm playing, but not the coils, and we're going to determine whether, the open coils look more aggressive, therefore they are. The covered ones look more, subtle, so they are. We're going to try to determine whether that's true or not. So let's get started. So let's start off by playing some practical musical examples. I feel like if you can't tell the difference here, it's not really going to make a difference. But once we're past that, we're going to get shorter and shorter and shorter until we do a pure A/B test and really get to the bottom. All right, well, that was interesting. After listening to those two clips, get your answers in because I'm about to reveal them to you. As usual, using a high quality set of headphones or good monitors will really make this job easier, but here we go. You guys ready? Pickup number 1 was covered. Pickup number 2, uncovered. All right, for audio comparison number 2, let's change up our tone a little bit. Let's go for less gain, but go for a real fat, juicy, southern rock kind of tone. See if you guys can hear the difference. Here we go. All right, you guys, here's the results for comparison number 2. Pickup number 1 was uncovered and pickup number 2 was covered. All right, for audio comparison number 3, we're going to drop all the gain altogether and play totally clean for you guys. Here we go. Let's check that out. All right, you guys, here's the results for the clean test. Now, personally, I found this one harder than the previous two, and I think it's because I, switched over to playing with my fingers and without overdrive pedals, kind of naturally compressing things. The parts were a lot more dynamic, and when the parts, within itself is dynamic, it's hard to hear, the differences. So I think that's likely what it was, but here are the results. Pickup number 1 was covered, and pickup number 2, uncovered. All right, so let's move on to the next sound comparison. We gotta play some single notes for you guys. So I'm gonna dial in like a low gain lead tone. It's gonna have some delay and reverb on it, but not totally saturated. So let's listen to that, see if we can hear the difference. So here are the results for the single notes. We had uncovered pickups and covered. All right, you guys, from here on in, I'm going to show you which pickup is which. Here we go. Let's do some shorter A-B stuff. Now, before I give my final thoughts on the uncovered versus covered pickups, I got to give a huge shout out to the guys at RELISH. They were amazing to collaborate with. They wound me up 2 identical pickups, put them in their quick mounts so that I could literally switch them, between takes. I would do one with one, pop it out, put in the other, record it, made it so easy. So huge thanks to the guys at RELISH, because like I said, I couldn't bring this to you guys without those guys. All right, so here's my final thoughts on covered versus uncovered pickups. First of all, we have confirmed it today. There is a difference. This one is not a myth. It's absolutely true. Now, that being said, our ears are absolutely amazing and can acclimatize to new tones within seconds. So on longer clips, after 5 or 6 seconds, you're just like, oh, okay, this is normal. And then you jump to the other clip and you're like, oh, did I hear a difference? And your ear would just automatically kind of suck you in and you wouldn't notice. So as clips got shorter, I think it became easier to hear. And for my ear personally, I didn't notice a huge difference in the lower strings and the mids, but on the upper strings, the primary tone was absolutely different on the first string and second string. And on the other strings, the very high end kind of like attack portion of the note, I could notice a difference too, especially like I said, when I jumped, just took the cursor and went back and forth and back and forth. There was an absolute difference, but on longer clips, it's harder to tell unless you do that. So how much does it matter? That's the $1 million question. So do with that information as you will. For me personally, it reinforces the fact that the amp is the cornerstone for tone, and learning how to EQ it and set up the gain stages is really going to be super valuable for developing your own tone. After that, comes pickups, single coils, humbuckers, low output vintage versus high output modern, and learning how that interacts with your amp. So once you kind of get a handle on those two things, what kind of pickups and how to set up your amp, you're going to dial in some awesome tones. And after that kind of comes the more minutia stuff of like bridge types and how you set up your guitars and covered versus uncovered. It's like adding that extra flavor on top. So it's not going to be fundamental to your tone, but it's going to be something that contributes to it. If you guys like content like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. You can check out the t-shirts in the video description below as well. That helps me out huge and enables me to put out content like this. Huge thanks again to the guys at RELISH for winding those pickups and sending them over. Awesome. Thanks so much, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Take care.